First of all, Southeastern Kentucky. At forward, Victor Stevens.
Welcome to the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. You're watching ASUN basketball on ESPN+. And today, the Colonels of Eastern Kentucky kick off a 4-game road trip looking to keep pace in the upper echelon of the ASUN as they take on the Queen's University of Charlotte Royals here in Curry Arena. Happy to have you with us alongside 10-time state champion coach Josh Springer. I'm John Gross. Coach, you think this one could be pretty simple coming down to the rebounding battle?
Absolutely. When you look at the visitors, the Colonels are top 2 in the conference in defensive rebounding, about 28 a night. And on the flip side, for the hometown Royals, number 1 in the league in offensive boards. How do you get more possessions? Take it off the glass.
All right, let's take a look at some players to watch. And Eastern Kentucky is led by one of the best guards in the ASUN.
Well, all-time leader in games played, all-time leader in minutes, all-time leader in assists, looking to add to 643 career dimes tonight. Recanati, the true heartbeat for the visitors from EKU. And on the flip side, for the home team here, we've got length. Germany Map, almost a 6-foot guard, the pride of Chester, South Carolina, former Legion Collegiate star, transfer from UMass. She's an elite perimeter defender for the Royals. And also, if Queens is going to win that rebounding battle, I look for her to have a big night from the guard spot.
She's been thrusted into a much bigger role these last couple of games as well. As we take a look at the starting lineup, brought to you by Atrium Health. And for Queens, there is one notable change. Jordan Weaver is not starting today for the Royals. We will see Kamara Mills get the start, the first career start for the freshman from Indianapolis. And for Eastern Kentucky, this is a balanced team. 4 of the Colonels' 5 starters average double figures. All 5 of them average 8 points or better on this season. Let's welcome in the third member of our team, Caitlin McCarthy.
Yeah, for Eastern Kentucky, there's a lot of pivotal players on this team, but one player they're going to want to watch out for is number 31, the freshman Liz Freihofer. She's been awarded ASUN Player of the Week 5 times already this season, averaging 11 points per game, which is 3rd best on her team, and she's starting in her 11th game tonight.
Thanks, Caitlin. She has been tremendous this season. One of 3 Kentucky natives on this roster, and she put up 16 last game. In a game for Eastern Kentucky where they pushed FGCU to the brink, only lost that game by 3 points, which was FGCU's closest ASUN game in over 2 years when FGCU lost to Liberty in 2023.
If you can take FGCU to the wire, you're a legit contender to win the ASUN Conference title.
I'm with you on that. Eastern Kentucky enters today in 6th place of the ASUN, just 2 games back of 3rd place, a game back of 4th. Meanwhile, for Queens, in the heels of a 56-49 loss against West Georgia, Queens didn't make a field goal in that 4th quarter. The offense has struggled. The defense has been there as of late for Queens.
Yeah, I think when you look over the last 3 matchups, John, you and I have talked about Queens has got to hit 65 points here. Last couple nights out, it's been mid-40s, high 40s scoring. It's just going to be difficult to get a win when your point production is that low in a conference as elite as the ASUN.
Kamaya Ward in the center circle with Jasmine McGinnis-Taylor. This is 32 versus 32, and this is a fun matchup to watch. You have McGinnis-Taylor, really talented post scorer, and Kamaya Ward, who is obviously a tremendous post defender for Queens. And we are underway, the 3rd all-time meeting between Queens and Eastern Kentucky. The Colonels lead the series 2-0 all-time, winning both games by an average of 28 points per game. The Colonels at 16-9 to the season, 6-6 in conference. Winners of 3 of their last 4. Here's Costner, leading scorer for this team. Off-kilter shot misses, but she has the offensive rebounds. Here is Freihofer. Hands, Toussaint misses from distance. Queens at 8-15 on the year, 2-10 in conference. On the heels of that 7-point loss against West Georgia. They were up by 6 in the first half. Here's Wade. Here's Mills. First collegiate start for the freshman. 6 to shoot for Wade. Mapp now puts up a 3. Can't sink it, and a rebound for Freihofer. Here is the standout freshman. Certainly a contender for Freshman of the Year in the ASUN. Oh, a nice move. Recanati dumps it off. And an easy 2 for McGinnis Taylor.
That would be number 644 for Recanati. Really unselfish play. She just as easily could have finished, but fed the post player for an easy deuce.
The ASUN assist leader and also EKU's career assist leader doing her thing early. As Mills puts up a triple and knocks it down. What a way to start her first career start.
You hit the nail on the head. What a confidence booster. The nerves, I'm a freshman, it's my first career start. Don't worry about it, coach. We got the home team with an early lead.
She averages 1.5 points per game, has 3 already. Backdoor, nice connection. Layup misses. Here's McGinnis Taylor. Toussaint shovels it. McGinnis Taylor, her feet intercepted. Queens has found success early on in games. Over the last 4 games, Queens has led by an average of 5 points at halftime, but they're minus 15 per game in the second half. That's where the struggles have been, as Ward misses a rare mid-range jumper for her. Here is Recanati, one of the top guards in the conference. McGinnis Taylor, kick out. Toussaint puts up a 3, can't hit. Another offensive rebound, and EKU resets. Triple, Freihofer splash.
We talked early on, John, rebounding being the difference. Thus far, EKU with 2 possessions with 2 offensive rebounds. Queens has to clean up the glass. Both teams playing man-to-man. Both teams almost daring each other to shoot it from the arc early.
EKU 5-1 edge in terms of rebounding so far as Behetu misses. And a second chance for Queens. Here's Wade. Mills. Inside. Ward goes up, finishes, and the whistle.
Outstanding post feed by Mills right there. Queens with a 4-round-1 motion offense. Look at this deep post position by Ward. She does her work before the catch. That's what makes the layup so simple. Strong, powerful finish. And again, Ward has been obviously an anchor on the defensive end. One of the top shot blockers in the conference. So anything they get on the offensive end from her, I often consider a bonus.
And you mentioned the entry feed. That's not as easy as it looks, and that's a freshman in Mills doing that.
Let me elaborate on that. Passing in basketball is a lost art. Players dribble around cones, they shoot, they do not post feed. You hit the nail on the head. Post feed is a lost art. Well done, freshman.
Lane violation against EKU gives Ward a second shot, and she misses on both. Tied at 5 in the early goings. EKU kicking off this 4-game road trip. Toussaint off the iron, second chance, lays it in. A 4th offensive rebound for EKU.
How talented do you have to be to start as a freshman on this EKU squad? You look at Toussaint's body, strong, athletic, fast. There's a reason she's there. She's versatile, inside and out, and right there just out-muscled Queens for a bucket in the paint.
A native of Ontario, Canada. Here's Mills. Jumper misses. Ward taps it out. Able to save it. What hustle by Kamaya Ward.
Unbelievable play, and I was feared for our colleague Wes over here at EKU. Yes. He almost caught Kamaya Ward midway through the first quarter.
Wade, 3, knocks it down.
This is all a game of second chances, John. Both teams have missed their first look almost every time, but both teams are creating a lot of extra chances by getting a second look.
10 of the 15 points scored today have been second chance buckets as that basket is scooped in. Nice take by Lindsay. The It's almost as if you knew that rebounding was going to be a key to this one.
Well, you shoot it well some nights you don't. Some nights you take care of the ball better than others, but you give yourself a chance every night when you create extra possessions, and rebounding's an effort statistic. Does height help? Yes. Does strength help? Yes, but do you just want it? That's what rebounding's about.
Here's Recanati. Kick out, Freihofer. Skips it. Here's Kostner. Toussaint shovels it and turns it over.
Great double team. Queens doubled from the inside because Mills had a tough cover on the block. Great rotation by Behetu. Easy pick 6.
Second steal for Anna Behetu. Map. Downhill, Map flips it up and in. Queens in front by 1.
I think that's when Map's at her best. She's a capable perimeter shooter, but I think she's hard to stay in front of. Nice finish.
Loose ball, fought for, and a tie-up sends it down to Queens. We'll step aside. Good one so far. Royals lead it by 1 in this Wednesday evening ASUN duel.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
At University Volvo on North Tryon Street, we believe in driving excellence both on the road and in education. So join us in celebrating the bright minds shaping our future. University Volvo is a proud sponsor of Queen's University of Charlotte. We are driven by excellence and committed to community. Visit us today on North Tryon Street.
The ASUN Women's Basketball Championship is almost here. Starting March 7th, experience the intensity as the top teams in the ASUN go head-to-head for conference glory. High-stakes matchups,
8 straight for the Eagle. Time possession.
Jaw-dropping plays,
McGowan, Cassie swats it away.
and moments that will go down in history.
It's Toller for the win. It's gone.
Tune in live to the ASUN Women's Basketball Championship starting March 2nd, only on ESPN+.
I made the better choice, and so can you.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Out of the media timeout, Queens leads it 10-9 over EKU. Kamaya Ward, not only a great rebounder, but she showed us some serious hustle earlier this quarter.
This is the coach's dream right here, John. Loose ball, diving into the scorer's table, and we always say what it takes to win games is doing all the things that don't show up in the box score. Hustle plays, high fives, diving for loose balls. That's what wins games and ultimately championships.
I can't think of many examples of a player tapping a ball out and then saving it as Map knocks down a triple. What a start for Queens.
Map got confidence going by getting to the rim. Now all of a sudden that rim looks a whole lot bigger, feels more and more confident from beyond the arc.
Queens shooting 50% from the field. Map has 5. Freihofer, who had 16 against FGCU, double figures in 3 of her last 4. Kostner now, 8 to shoot. Kostner wheels, banks it in, and the whistle.
I'm really impressed with Kostner's feet, and here's what I mean by that. Multiple times thus far, she's driven in the paint and jump stopped and pitched the ball out. Well, this time she had the angle on the Queens defender and went all the way and finished at the rim.
What does that jump stop do for a player rather than going up off of 1 foot?
It helps your head coach not have an aneurysm. it decreases turnovers. We say all the time, jump stop, don't jump pass. You better have a lot of hang time to jump pass. When you jump stop, you buy yourself time. You buy yourself patience. You allow a weak side cutter to get free. You allow a weak side shooter to get free. And you keep your head coach from, again, having a tough night.
Well, Costner's had some really good head coaches. Of course, Todd, now at EKU, and Kevin McGuff at Ohio State back in the day, as Ward answers right back for Queens.
So both teams are 4-round-1 motion offense here, and with that, you see both post players having success inside.
And a tough take from Recanati drops in.
And I think that's a really hard cover. You're so used to Recanati, over her 600 assists. Well, she's also a prolific scorer, which means you're in real trouble when she gets 2 feet in the paint.
Over 1,000 career points, 600 assists, 500 rebounds as Ward draws the whistle. By the way, Recanati, one of just 15 D1 players with those numbers, 1,400 points, 600 assists, and 500 boards in a career.
And let's not forget an 85% free throw shooter as a point guard. You know what that means as a coach? If EKU gets ahead late, forget about it. She's the point guard, she's the assist leader, and she's going to go to the line and close out the game.
So 2 free throws for Kamaya Ward, who is 0 of 1 from the line tonight. That last foul against Lindsay, that's her first. Team second as Ward knocks down the free one. And Ward is 2 for 2. The 47% free throw shooter knocks down both.
I'm no math major, but that percentage will go up now.
Yes. Here's Costner. Shovels, McGinnis-Taylor rims out, and a rebound for Wade. Queen shooting 55% from the fields. Here's Fieri, who didn't play last game. Map, attacks, flips, misses, and a rebound for Calcan. Entry feed, Calcan with the left, flips it in.
Right there, Mills was just laid in the post, and obviously post defense is not going to be her forte, and you can see EKU trying to post her up multiple times in the paint.
That's a rare 2 for Calcan, and it's an illegal screen set by Wade, sends it back to the Colonels. That's the second foul against Wade, and Josh, obviously, she's instrumental for this Queens team, and as it stands, she's staying on the floor.
That won't last long. Bahetu's coming in to get her out in a second if she cannot pick up a third on this possession.
McGinnis-Taylor goes to work and travels.
I love the verticality by Ward there. Ward did not bite on the shot fake. She stayed down, and the post player for EKU spun herself right into a circle and traveled.
So Bahetu does come on the floor for Queens, as does Tiziana Wiese. And she replaces Kamara Mills, who exits 3 points, a rebound, and an assist in her first start. She made an impact in the first 8+ minutes of this game.
I tell players all the time, if you get 1 minute, try to turn it into 2. You get 2 minutes, try to turn it into 4. Mills just showed Coach Brown, Coach, you can start me and I'll get us off to a great start.
Here's Bahetu. Nearing the final minute of this first. Fieri, 10 to shoot. Step back, off the iron, and a rebound for Calcan.
I don't love that shot, John. Not much ball movement. Didn't get the ball going side, top side. A step back with the ball pinned on one side of the floor, even for a shooter as good as her, is a difficult one.
McGinnis-Taylor again goes to work, and again Ward turns her away. Bahetu slips it. Nice feed. Ward finishes.
Beautiful basketball. The pick and roll has been working well for the Royals. Ward dominating the paint. She's been the best post player to this point in the game.
8 points for Kamaya Ward. She averages 7 per game. And a whistle underneath. This is team foul number 3. Here's one more look at Kamaya Ward's basket.
Always take at least 2 dribbles off the ball screen. Queens does, opens up great spacing, nice dime down to Ward for a bucket.
Well, we knew that Ward versus Jasmine McGinnis-Taylor would be a marquee matchup, and it is Ward winning that duel so far. And a takeaway from Weesey. Weesey, pull up, rims out. Freihofer is fouled.
Tough decision right there by Weesey. Great steal, but then there's 21 seconds to go in the quarter. I would love to see Queens pull the ball out. They have momentum. You're up 3. You have a chance to take the last shot of the quarter and go up 3 or 5. Instead, you let EKU get the ball now, and EKU is going to have the last shot of the quarter with the chance to tie.
Final seconds of this first. Here's Costner. Drives, Costner flips it up and in.
John, my point exactly. That is such a momentum killer. Queens played a great quarter, and time and score closing out quarters is such a critical part of the game. You have 4 quarters, and kudos to EKU for getting the momentum going into recess here at the end of the quarter.
High scoring first quarter of action. Queens leads it by 1.
Well, John, we talked earlier about Kamaya Ward being one of the top shot blockers in the conference, but tonight she's been the offensive catalyst for the Royals. She's got 9 points here early on for the Royals. Great post threat inside. She goes off the bounce there. Deep post position. Made some free throws better than you expect. Pick and roll. She's scoring in a variety of ways, being extremely active in the paint. She's controlled the paint on both ends thus far.
When Ward is scoring like this, what does it do for Queens offensively?
Spacing. It opens up driving lanes for your guards. It opens up three-point shooting for players like Bahetu. It's critical.
Opening possession of the second. Costner underneath. Angles it off the window. She's fouled. And 2 free throws coming for Costner, who continues to display her ability to get to the basket.
Yeah, Costner's a load in the paint, and she's patient. She's patient, John. She's strong, she's athletic, and again, puts you in a compromised defensive position. And like you said, this is her 3rd and 4th free throws already here for a team that is one of the top free throw shooting teams in the conference.
They shoot it at 74%. Costner That's 71%, and she misses.
Broadcasting Jinx brought to you by Josh and John on Wednesday night.
Sincere apologies, EKU. And Costner rattles in the second. 19-19, a high-scoring start to this one. Here's Fieri. Searching for Ward. Ward travels.
Tried to do a little too much there inside. I can't blame her. She's been feeling it through a quarter and change. If you have nothing, throw it back out and repost. The defensive post player relaxes when you throw the ball back to the perimeter. And that's the time to duck in another foot and reestablish post position.
EKU brings Jasmine McGinnis-Taylor back on the floor. It was a short stay for Kalani Lindsay, who was on the floor for about 30 seconds. Here is McGinnis-Taylor. Goes to work, and she travels.
McGinnis-Taylor says to Ward, anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, back and forth we go with these post-player travels. Here's Behetu. Pull up. No. Ward taps it, and Weesey corrals. Behetu off the screen, and you can see the idea, but she turns it over.
So what EKU is doing right there, they are icing the ball screen, which means the wing is getting on top of the ball handler and forcing the ball handler to drive baseline. Right there, Queens had the kick to the corner, just a miscommunication.
Queens, its third turnover of this game. Good ball movement here, 3-ball, Calcan misses, and Weesey has it. Ward, jumper, no, and Calcan has the board. Recanati, kick out, Calcan, deep three. That's off. She can hit from there. 79% of her career field goals are three-pointers, so she's comfortable from that distance. And she will come off. Maya Wardle replaces her. Wardle, the freshman who was actually recruited by Queens, picked EKU over the Royals. Behetu. Underneath, kick out, 3-ball. Fieri off the iron, and Wardle the rebounds. So after a high-scoring first quarter, we have yet to see either team make a field goal in this second. And another turnover committed by EKU. What have you seen change in this quarter so far compared to the first?
You know, I think the defense is solid, John, but I also see players trying to do too much. You see a lot of players trying to go one-on-one, one-on-two, one-on-three, and you've seen some travels and dribbling it off your foot, so on and so forth. And now, right now, EKU looks like they're going to get one in transition.
Oh, Recanati unable to finish as Colvin pushes. Colvin, kick out, 3-ball, Behetu, too much. And neither team can buy a bucket right now.
That was perfectly played by Colvin. I know it didn't end how you want it to. She attacked the paint. She jump stopped. She set Behetu up for a wide open look. One of the best shooters for Queens. Unfortunately, couldn't find the mark.
Uh-oh. We have an issue. Oh, the ball hit the power outlet, so that causes it to reset. There we go.
John, I have my flip chart out in the car. Don't worry. We were set.
You're ready for whatever comes up.
Amen to
a true
that.
coach. Costner. Recanati. One of the best players in program history. Her name littered throughout the record book as she slips it for McGinnis-Taylor. Three to shoot. Deep three. Costner way off.
Excellent defensive possession by Queens. Just solid on multiple closeouts.
Weesey to Ward, and she's fouled.
I love the patience there by Weesey. She waited for Ward to establish deep post position, had a shot fake, and watched this bounce pass down here on the other end. Weesey comes down, gets middle, which is important. Controls the lane, lets Ward get set. The defender not in position to guard. Ward going to the line again for what I believe are her 5th and 6th free throws, John.
Ward 8 points today, make that now 3 of 4 from the charity stripe. So give her 9 points. That last foul against McGinnis-Taylor, that's her second. As she exits, Lindsay replaces her. That's a big loss for EKU. The all-conference caliber post player. And a foul against Fieri. Team second and her first.
That's okay right there. Costner's a really tough cover inside. She's strong, had a nice low base on the cross screen right there. Again, early in the quarter, only the second team foul on the Royals, no problem.
Weesey comes off, Mills replaces her, Lindsay open, banks it in.
So that time Costner drew a ton of attention right there, and Queens forgot all about the wide open player in front of the ball.
Kalani Lindsay, she has had a major jump from freshman year to sophomore year, more than doubling her scoring. Puts her team up by 1. That was the first made field goal of this quarter. Colvin, pull up, can't answer, and Lindsay the rebounds. Here's Recanati, floater, what a bucket.
That's a tough shot. That's probably the toughest made shot we've seen today. Good for her for having that in her arsenal.
She is fading to her left, puts it up with her right. Tough bucket. Mills 3. Can't respond, and a tap out, corralled by Colvin. Here is Day Colvin. Downhill, lowers the shoulder, and she's fouled.
Coach Todd was less than thrilled that there was no call on that long rebound because, again, most of the time when you give up an offensive rebound, it leads to a basket by the other team. Coach is still talking to the other official. This is the key to coaching. When you let one referee have it, you make sure to fill in all 3 referees, and you watch more times than not. The next time down the court, you probably get a favorable whistle.
Ah, there you go. Coaching 101 with Coach Springer. We'll certainly watch out for that. Greg Todd has had a stellar coaching career. His 4th season at EKU. Back-to-back winning seasons for the Colonels. This is a program that hadn't had a winning season before that since 2015-2016.
How about Coach Todd? Over 700 career wins, John. Remarkable.
And a foul drawn by Freihofer, pardon me. And that'll bring us to a media timeout, 23-22. Eastern Kentucky a 1-point cushion midway through this second quarter.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Oh, so good to see you. I'm lucky that she likes to garden so much. Our bed and breakfast.
Even though our plan evolved here and there, your vision never changed.
Our vision. You're my first financial advisor. Do you want to see my budget spreadsheet?
I want to see your vision board.
You're still thinking differently.
Northwestern Mutual, a better way to money.
Just like your fingerprint, your heartbeat is unique to you. And that's how your heart care should be too. So at Baptist Health, we focus on your specific cardiac needs, from preventive care to some of the most advanced procedures. For your one-of-a-kind heart, choose the one hospital system more people trust for their heart care. Baptist Health. It's heart care centered on you.
Next.
Buying college textbooks can feel like a nightmare. Long lines, lost time, and inflated prices.
And that's lunch.
But for EKU students, BookSmart is a dream come true. Stress less with 100% free textbooks at EKU.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
EKU leads it by 1 midway through this second. Head coach Greg Todd in his 4th season, an EKU alumnus. He's from Madison County. He's also coached at nearby Morehead State and Transylvania University. The guy's won a lot. He's brought that winning pedigree to the Colonels.
Yeah, John, you talk about the National High School Girls Basketball Coach of the Year in 2006. Oh, by the way, inducted into the Kentucky High School Hall of Fame in 2017. And like we mentioned earlier, over 700 wins in college and high school. To say the least, a giant in the state of Kentucky.
No doubt about it, as Liz Freihofer misses on the first. Let's send it down to Caitlin McCarthy with more from the EKU huddle.
Yeah, John, I was just in the huddle for Queens, and Coach Brown emphasized that her team really needs to be careful when it comes to fouling. There's a few players that already have 2 fouls on the board. She says that we need to be able to win this game and defend better when it comes to scoring points here in the second half.
Thanks, Caitlin, as Ward continues to dominate inside. 11 points for Kamaya.
The best place to feed the post is from the top of the key. Queens did that beautifully. There was no help. Nice left by Ward.
And they force another turnover. That's one of the things that Queens does very well. Second of the conference in turnovers forced per game.
Let's talk about the job Colvin's done running the point coming in for Queens here.
And scoring. Day Colvin at the free throw line with the and one.
She's been a difference maker. She came in off the bench, and again, she set the table well for Queens. Beautiful job. She's explosive, especially going to her right. Nice give and go right here. Takes the hit, and one for Queens.
So Day Colvin at the free throw line, looking to convert in the three-point play. He's already 2 of 2 from the stripe today. Wow. How did that one not go in? And a loose ball foul against Fieri. That is team foul number 4 and her second.
I'm still trying to figure out how that free throw didn't go in. It rattled around 99% of the orange cylinder, to say the least.
Colvin's just laughing right now. I mean, that's about all you could do.
I'd be crying.
2-point lead for Queens. Here's Freihofer to the basket. Can't bank it in. Colvin the rebounds. Mills drives, shows, but travels.
Queens trying to do a little dribble weave there, trying to get an angle to turn the corner. Mills unfortunately slid that left sneaker, and a very bright sneaker, I might add, as about half the Queens crew sporting the green sneakers.
Which I'm a big fan of. I love the neon. Here's Costner. Shovels it, Recanati. Toussaint. Kick out, Recanati. The repost, Toussaint. Double Toussaint, and one.
Really nice patience right there by Toussaint. Beautiful up and under right there. Got the Queens defender in the air right here. And, who threw the pass? Recanati. Unfortunate foul on Ward there. They need her in the game, obviously, to have a chance anchoring the paint. They're thin in the paint, in the post tonight.
And the good news for Queens and for Ward, that's only her first foul.
And considering all the physicality on both ends, Coach Jen Brown would be perfectly okay with her going into recess with just one.
Here's Fieri. Out for Colvin. To the basket, and an offensive foul.
John, I don't love that call. She created a little bit of space with her shoulder and her head, but I never felt like she displaced the defender right here. Here's Colvin going down the lane. Again, you'll see her change directions. Her left hand, yeah, a little bit, but I really didn't like that call.
Jen Brown is chatting things over with the officials right now, and an illegal screen gives it right back to Queens.
What do they say, John, on the playground? Ball don't lie.
Yes. The great Rasheed Wallace.
Well,
he
great's a matter of opinion. In his own mind, he was great. No, Rasheed was a heck of a player. Let's not kid ourselves.
That 04 Pistons team, whew, him, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton.
You want to talk about rebounding relentlessly? Where's Ben Wallace?
Yes, Big Ben. And a whistle away from the basketball. And that does put Queens in the bonus, so Magda Fieri to the free throw line. By the way, I can't forget Tayshaun Prince as well.
The pride of UK.
Loved watching him play.
He was 6'9", and it felt like his arms went to his ankles.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. And one of the last NBA teams to win a championship without a superstar on the team. As Fieri misses the second. Here's Freihofer. Quiet night so far for her. Just 4 points in this first half. One of the best freshmen of the conference. Toussaint is ripped away by Ward. Final 2 minutes of this first half. Queens continuing the trend that it's had recently of first half success as Mills is short of the jumper and Toussaint is the rebounds. Costner. Toussaint. Hands for Recanati. 10 to shoot. Toussaint drives. Toussaint is fouled, and that is Ward's second personal.
That's a dangerous one there. Mills gambled on the perimeter and missed. With that being said, Ward had no business going for this block right here. She's got to stay straight up. And I know she's one of the shot block leaders, but again, if you notice, she's played almost all of the minutes at the 5 spot tonight for Queens. There really is a big difference going into half with 1 foul versus 2. You come out of the break now, you get a third one in the first 3-4 minutes. That changes the complexion for your rotation, and obviously Queens needs her on the floor.
Ward has played every minute today. We have not seen Jordan Weaver yet for Queens. Now Weaver did miss 2 games, came back last game. She's currently appealing a school infraction. We are told that she is available to play today, but we have not seen her in this first half. Here's Weesey, floats, and can't finish. But of course, Weaver, the leading scorer on this team for Queens and the leading rebounder for the Royals.
And John, all of that to say, in Weaver's absence, her teammates have picked up the slack. This is not a one-man band here. I'm really impressed with how Queens has rallied with a balanced attack, defensively and offensively.
10 to shoot. Freihofer to the basket, bumped, too much. And Colvin pushes. Ward underneath, goes to work, banks it in, and 1.
Outstanding transition offense for the Royals. Colvin pitches ahead. Freire, post feed. Ward, left-hand hook, going to the line again. 7th free throw of the night.
13 points already for Kamaya Ward. That is exactly double her season average. Make that 14. She averages 6.5 points per game.
You know why that happened, John. She got mad when in the first 30 seconds of the game, I said any offense from her is a bonus. She said, change that narrative now.
Well, she has done just that today. 14 to the first half for Ward. About a 4-second difference, shot clock to game clock. Recanati drives, spins, hangs, and hits.
I've been really impressed, John, with both teams showing great ball fakes to get good looks in the paint.
Colvin misses, and that'll wrap up the first half, and an intriguing first half at that. 30-30 as Queens hanging with EKU at the break. The Royals led by 1 at the end of the first. They're tied through 2. And this ASUN battle on this Wednesday night. Jen Brown and company head to the locker room in a tie game. Caitlin McCarthy is with Jen Brown.
Coach, Kamaya Ward has had a very impressive first half on offense and in defense in the paint. Just how do you want her to do this in the second half?
I mean, that's been a point of emphasis. We've spent the whole week repping that out because she's been playing extremely hard, and I said we got to reward the big girl. You know, I've been kind of upset with myself, being a former post player, not feeding her more, because when we do, we get to open up a lot more things for our guards. So we got to stay in attack mode and continue to play inside out.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Caitlin. And they certainly have fed Kamaya Ward. 14 points. She leads all scorers in this one. In fact, the only player in double figures for either team. And it's 30-30 at the break. Halftime in Charlotte. Stick with us on ESPN+. Thank you. When you come to the Levine Center for a Queens basketball game, there is a talented group of people working behind the scenes on the Queens Sports Network. The production team's hard work can be seen in the broadcast studio, on the court, and streamed live on ESPN+. Truly a top-notch bunch led by Jim Piscatelli and Jacob Wright. Our entire fantastic crew does such an amazing job. Game in, game out. Doesn't matter what sport it is, they put on a tremendous show, and we thank them for all of their hard work. Here's a look at the upcoming Queens broadcast schedule, starting off with tomorrow night. The Queens men's basketball team plays at Bellarmine at 6:30. On Saturday, Queens women's hoops on the road at Lipscomb, 2:30 p.m. for that matchup. Men's hoops on Saturday at EKU, and then men's lacrosse back at home against Stony Brook as we kick off spring sports. That began last week and will continue to roll on through the rest of the school year. 30-30 is the score. Queens and EKU tied at the break. Oh, almost. During halftime, Queens honoring its women's sports athletes in honor of National Girls and Women's in Sports Day, which is being celebrated today at Queens. And at halftime, a 30-30 score. Queens and Eastern Kentucky locked in a good one. Men's lacrosse started their season last week. Before the season, Carson Sadler sat down with head coach Nick Colpitts to preview this year's squad.
With preseason coming to an end, could you give us a mini scouting report on how the team looks like this year so far?
Yeah, I think, we've started off, in the fall just competing really hard. I think obviously with senior class that's really, hungry to make this place special for them in their last season. Every single day we've competed, and I think that's really shown, especially through this spring, and I know they're just ready to get after it on Saturday.
When you look across the ASUN, what is it about this team that is so different?
I think it's, number one, the locker room and just how connected we are as a team. I know the relationships that we've built with one another. Obviously, I'm biased, but I think they're really strong. And then I also think just a lot of playing experience as well. We have a lot of guys at a lot of important positions that have played, a good amount of college lacrosse, whether that's at the Division II level or now at the Division I level. So I'm just really excited for those guys to continue in their, development. Something I always tell the guys is, just because you're 1 year older doesn't necessarily mean you're 1 year better. And I hope they take that to heart and continue to, do what they've been doing on the practice field and just competing, every single day we can.
And we're in the year 3 of this Division I transition. What is the long-term vision for this program?
I think it's to be, a perennial conference contender. That's why I took the job. I told, every single recruit that comes through here, like, we are not here to just be at the table. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can so that, in a year, this year and beyond, that we are putting ourselves in a, spot to compete in the NCAA tournament. And so this year, I think, is the deepest team that we've had since I've been here. So I know that we're making strides in that direction. Now it's, up to, our players and our staff to go out there and show it on game day.
Let's take a look at the upcoming men's lacrosse schedule. These are the upcoming home games. All of them can be seen on ESPN+, Stony Brook, and then Long Island. So a couple of teams from Long Island coming to town. And then after that, Jacksonville and Utah on April 19th. Again, all of those can be seen live on ESPN+. But here in Charlotte, the score at the break, 30-30. How about this at halftime? Half-court heaves, boom! A half-court shot is buried, and hopefully for Queens, that's a good omen for the second half. Close one at the break. Queens and Eastern Kentucky locked up at 30 points apiece through 20 minutes of action as we welcome you back inside Curry Arena. This ASUN Wednesday night showdown, a rare Wednesday night matchup here in Charlotte. Alongside Josh Springer, I'm John Gross. Look, first quarter, offenses were clicking. Second quarter, defenses locked in. Either way, a competitive first 20 minutes of action.
Yeah, and you know what? You hit the nail on the head early, John. You said Queens has been playing great in the first half. Now here's the story. Will they keep it up in the second half? Kamaya Ward, 14 points. Where does the second and third scoring option come from for Queens in this half?
Ward, the only player for either team in double figures in that first half. Let's take a look at some of the first half highlights, Josh. What stood out to you?
Well, again, it started with Kamaya Ward right here, the scoring leader and assist leader for EKU. Recanati with the nice pass for an assist. But again, Ward with 14 points, 4 assists. All right, right there, Mills with the nice jumper. And again, Ward took it off a hustle play. It wasn't just the points. It wasn't just the rebounds. Right there, rolling to the basket. She was versatile in her offensive attire. And then Recanati, the leaner. And then the very last play of the half, Recanati ends up with a shot fake and a nice finish in the paint for EKU. Right here, took Colvin off the bounce, got the defender in the air. Again, I'm really looking forward to seeing who's the second scoring option for Queens in the second key this half, who picks up a third foul first. Both teams' post players have 2 fouls. For Queens, you have Ward with 2 fouls. For EKU, you've got Lindsay with 2 and McGinnis Taylor for 2. My biggest storyline this half is which post player dominates the second half.
Let's send it down to the third member of our team, Caitlin McCarthy.
Yeah, I talked to head coach Greg Todd at halftime, and he says that they really need to just be who they are. They've noticed that they've not been able to really contain Kamaya Ward in the paint and also allowing her to get multiple shots up, as she's the leading scorer on both sides, as you mentioned, 14 points. So he really just wants his team to play better defense in the paint while also taking more shots.
Thanks, Caitlin. 30-30 the score at the break. Eastern Kentucky kicking off a 4-game road trip, entering today in 6th place of the A-Sun, 2 games back of 3rd place. Queens 1 game back of 10th place, which is that final spot for the A-Sun tournament. Still a couple weeks left to play, but we are starting to march towards the postseason as Mapp puts up an early 3 and doesn't get the roll.
So you want to shoot it in rhythm. I don't think that's a great one starting off. Mapp pump faked, and then she wasn't in rhythm. Just keep the ball moving. It'll come back to you.
Opening possession for EKU. Here's Alice Recanati, and on the entry feed, a whistle.
John, we talked about the foul trouble potentially for post players. Queens has 5 players with 2 fouls right now, including Ward, Mapp, Wade, Fieri, and Colvin.
That is a dangerous spot for the Royals to be in as Costner misses and Wade has it. Behetu unable to bring it in, does stay with Queens. Well, Queens has been good in the first half of games as of late, but the struggles have come in the second half. Over the last 4 games, an average of minus 15 points per game in the second half. Looking to change that today. Nice feed from Mills. Though Mapp was on the end line, it's a turnover.
Tough break right there for the Royals. I like the ball reversal. I like the paint touch by Mills. I like the backdoor cut for Mapp. Unfortunately, she ran out of real estate.
Here's Recanati. Inside, McGinnis Taylor. Backs in on Ward and travels. She has been limited to just 2 points and has committed now 5 turnovers.
It hasn't been her best night, obviously, and you can tell Coach Todd's agenda is get a 3rd foul on Ward. They'll go right back to it next trip.
Tremendous defensive performance by Ward against one of the best post players in the conference. Here's Wade. Swings for Mapp. 7 to shoot. Ward goes right at McGinnis Taylor. Double comes, left it short. Still looking for our first points of this 3rd quarter. Recanati skips it, Toussaint. McGinnis Taylor underneath, and her feet intercepted. A 6th turnover by her.
Coach Todd isn't going to be keeping her on the floor much longer if she keeps making passes like that. Guards you expect to turn it over once in a while. 6 turnovers for a post player, quite frankly, is just unacceptable.
6 turnovers, 2 fouls, just 2 points.
And that's coming off a game where she was outstanding against Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, 17 points, 8 boards in that game. She has 6 double-doubles this season, double-figure scoring in 3 straight. This is uncharacteristic of her. As Behetu pulls up and doesn't get the roll.
Behetu can't buy one. She's had 3 or 4 wide open looks and unfortunately hasn't gone down yet tonight.
Open 3, knocks it down. Freihofer, you cannot leave her that open. She'll make you pay.
It's off. I'm sorry, John. It's often basketball's a make or miss game. Queens misses a wide open jumper. EKU capitalizes on a wide open jumper.
Ward kick out. Behetu 0 of 5 so far. And Freihofer has the steal. The standout freshman to the basket and one.
Tough turnover right there. Freihofer building off the momentum. Again, she hits the 3 the play before, now gets the old-fashioned 3-point play. This was a must timeout for Coach Jen Brown right here. A 5-point lead can feel like a 15-point lead, the way baskets have been tough to come by tonight.
.5-0 start to this third quarter for EKU. Josh, if you're Jen Brown, especially considering how Queens has struggled in the second half of games as of late, what's the conversation like in that timeout that you just called?
Yeah, well, Jen Brown doesn't need any coaching help strategy from me. She's done a phenomenal job. With that being said, I like how she broke the momentum. Because, again, for a team like Queens who really struggles to score, a 6-0 or 8-0 run can be really difficult to come back from. So you know what? Tough play. EKU hit a 3 and then Queens turned it over and then got a 5-0 run. The bigger question is, where does the scoring come from? Ward is 5 for 8 from the floor. The rest of the Royals are 5 for 21. Where does the offense come from for the home team?
Here's Wade, and there's where the offense comes from, at least in the short term. Alicia Wade, the 3.
Interesting stat, John. That's Queens' 4th triple of the night. The visitors only have 2 thus far.
So Queens doubling up EKU in that category. Here's Toussaint with the left, can't buy it. And a leaping Wade rips it down. Showing off the hops.
My 1.3-inch vertical leap took me far. They always said, can you dunk? I could barely hit the bottom of the net when I played, John.
Here's Wade. Banks it in. Back-to-back buckets for the veteran.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head. You hit a three, and then you get a hustle play rebound, and then you get a little bounce in your step and get a finish at the rim. Wade with 3 winning plays in a row, and right now, the whistle that Jem Brown did not want to hear. The 3rd foul on Kamaya Ward. Mike marked the score. 5:57 of the 3rd quarter. We talked at recess. Which post player gets her 3rd foul? EKU's been relentless attacking the paint. Here, a nice spin move, and I think this is the right call. Ward gets into the space of number 32 for EKU, McGinnis Taylor. Let's see if that'll get her engine started for the night.
She knocks down the first, and Ward exits with those 3 fouls. And for the first time today, we see Jordan Weaver, Queens leader in points and rebounds. She had missed 2 games, came back last game, currently appealing a school infraction, but she is available to play while that appeal is ongoing. And she makes her debut today, near the midway point of the 3rd. Here's Behetu, puts up a 3. No, Weaver the follow, instant impact, Jordan Weaver.
John, you hit the nail on the head. It is difficult when you're a starter, when you're used to being the primary scorer, primary rebounder. You sit for over a half, and what happens? Jordan is prepared physically and mentally. She corrals a rebound on the defensive end. She gets a rebound on the offensive end, and now an and one 3-point play for Queens.
Well, she's the only player in the ASUN who's ranked at the top 10 in points per game and rebounds per game. And it only took her about 30 seconds to show everyone why. 3 points, 2 boards, and less than a minute for Weaver. Here she is in the defensive end, and she comes away with a stop, and it's Queens basketball.
That just as easily could have been the 3rd foul called on McGinnis Taylor, but I thought the referee made a great decision there. Why put a foul on a post player when the ball is going to Queens anyway?
And McGinnis Taylor with 3 fouls. Wade. Kick out for Behetu. Here's Weaver. Faces and hits.
What a tough shot. I'm just impressed. Jordan Weaver being ready. So many players would be deflated, discouraged, and she has come in the game making an instant impact, as you mentioned.
Big 3 for Wardle to answer. 1 point Queens lead. The Royals have hit 4 of their last 5. Here's Mills, puts up a triple. No, Weaver fights for it, and that's headed the opposite direction. So it goes against Weaver. That's her first, and that brings us to immediate timeout. Still a close battle. Queens leads it by 1 over EKU. Queens leads it by 1, in large part due to the insertion of Jordan Weaver onto the floor. We hadn't seen her in the entire first half. Didn't play the first half of the third quarter. She comes in, Josh, and has made an impact. 5 points and 2 boards.
I cannot overstate how impressed I am with Jordan Weaver's mental toughness. At 6 o'clock tonight, I don't know if she thought, oh, it'll be the middle of the third quarter before I go into the game. That is really difficult, especially for a player who's always a starter making an impact. She has come in and changed the momentum of this game for the Royals.
Costner draws the whistle. She'll shoot 2. But even after she was held out those 2 games, came back last game and started, put up 17 points, and then today had to wait until the midway point of the third quarter to come on the floor, and has made an impact as Wade comes off. That last foul was against Wade. That's her third. So Wade and Ward, 2 instrumental pieces to Queens with 3 fouls.
John, just to tie a bow on the Weaver story, players don't get to choose when they play. All they can do is, how do you make an impact or not when you get your opportunity? And Jordan Weaver has shown time and again, starter, non-starter, I'm ready. I don't get ready, I stay ready.
And she just picked up her 3rd rebound in 2 minutes. Here is Weaver. Tied at 40, gets inside, and draws the whistle.
Weaver right down Main Street. Again, plays the post, but she's not a true 5. She's not. She's inside out. She can handle the ball. She can post you. Relentless rebounding. She's a really tough cover for EKU.
That last fell against Toussaint, just her second, team's 3rd. She also has some awesome sneakers, the neon orange. I know we talked about the neon earlier. I think this lineup for Queens, 4 of the 5 players have neon sneakers. Has to be the brightest sneaker collection in America, this lineup right now.
Jordan didn't get the green memo.
She does always mix up her socks. Has interesting socks that she wears. 2-point lead all the way to the cup. That's an easy 2 for Costner.
Way too easy. Poor ball screen coverage right there. And again, Costner's been a menace in the paint all night.
Behetu off the screen, down the lane, can't finish. Weaver follows, knocked around, and a whistle. If that's Weaver, that's her second. It is. So 2 fouls against Jordan Weaver.
So you love the hustle by Weaver, but unfortunately that's the 5th on the Royals. So now you're going to send EKU to the line. And again, we love Weaver's rebounding on the offensive end, but she's committed 2 fouls in the last 3 minutes by trying to go for offensive boards. And now you've got EKU with 3.5 minutes of the ability to go to the charity stripe.
And in a close game like this stretch could be the difference if they get fouled a couple of times. And they're a really good free throw shooting team, 74% on the season. Freihofer at the line, one of just 3 Kentucky natives on this roster. It's an interesting roster makeup. There's a good balance of experience and youth. 4 international players as well, 3 players from the state of Kentucky. Good mix for head coach Greg Todd.
Well, and how about this, John? Freihofer, Recanati, and Costner have played every second of this game. Will they go the distance and play all 40?
Well, Costner does lead the conference in minutes per game, so Greg Todd not afraid to let his players play. 8 to shoot. Colvin, 4 seconds. Weaver is fouled. What a break for Queens, and that puts Queens in the bonus.
A break would be an understatement. As you mentioned, John, not only does it happen with 1 on the shot clock, and it sends Weaver to the line right here, and a really unnecessary gamble right there by Toussaint.
Check that. That is the 4th team foul, so it is on the floor.
Apology.
Does go against Toussaint. She picks up her 3rd. Colvin all the way, turned away by Freihofer. Weaver knocks it away, and it heads down to the Colonels. This game has been neck and neck throughout. Largest lead for either team was a 5-point edge for EKU earlier in this third. Recanati probing, puts it up, and left it short. Weaver pushes. Here's Behetu. Drives, Behetu, tough shot, and she's fouled.
John, you can tell the scouting report is make Behetu put the ball on the ground. She's an elite three-point shooter. She's struggled from the perimeter earlier in the game, so to her credit, she's trying to go to the rim. Last time down, she missed. That time, quite frankly, she got bailed out because I don't think she was going to finish that one. Maybe she can get some confidence going by watching the ball go in from 15.
So Behetu knocks down the first. Queens as a team has not made a field goal in about 2.5 minutes. Weaver gets the offensive rebound and has it ripped away by Toussaint.
Have we ever had a player get a double-double by playing a quarter and a half? Because Jordan Weaver is well on her way.
7 points, 5 rebounds for Weaver. Here's Colvin.
And by the way, that's in 3 minutes, John.
3 minutes, yes. Pardon me, 6 rebounds now. And a turnover. Freihofer. Woo! Oh, Queens wanted to travel.
So did I.
Toussaint. Kick out. Freihofer 3, knocks it down. And Freihofer starting to get going. She's up to 14 points. One of the premier freshmen of the conference. Colvin into the corner. Behetu spins. Double comes. And a held ball that sends it down to the Colonels. They're locking things down defensively right now.
I'm curious to see, when does Coach Brown bring back Ward? And on one hand, hey, she has 3 fouls. On the other hand, Jordan Weaver's playing so well, and you're probably not going to play them both together since Queens has been running that 4-out, 1-in lineup all night.
Magda Fieri back on the floor for Queens. Costner to the basket. No one stops her. An easy 2 again.
That's the second time, and if I'm Coach Todd, why would I run anything different? Just go back to that. Queens has had no answer for the ball screen from the left wing. I mean, talk about being unimpeded. Those are layups in practice.
11 points for Costner. Final minute of this third. Colvin off the screen. Weaver, kick out, Map. Back to Colvin, puts up a 3. Nearly banked it in. Colvin still searching for her first made 3 of the season. Costner turns on the Jets. Here's Wardle. Toussaint powers it up and in.
That's really good offense right there by the Colonels. 4-round-1. Get your best post player right there. Get Toussaint posted up against Map. Significant strength advantage. Nice drop step with the left.
Queens can hold for the final shot. A 7-0 run for EKU over the last minute 30. Colvin, 5 seconds. Colvin, 3 seconds. Map, 1 second, puts it up. And off the mark. And that wraps up the third quarter. Eastern Kentucky, a 7-0 run to finish out the frame. They lead it by 8. We'll step aside. Final 10 minutes after this.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
At University Volvo on North Tryon Street, we believe in driving excellence both on the road and in education. So join us in celebrating the bright minds shaping our future. University Volvo is a proud sponsor of Queen's University of Charlotte. We are driven by excellence and committed to community. Visit us today on North Tryon Street.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. From the beaches to the mountains, the Atlantic Sun is the destination.
I love this card.
Oh, thanks.
Go, Colonel.
Is it here? Hey, Coach. It's right here, but shouldn't you be at the game?
Carry your favorite team with you everywhere you go with the new branded debit card from EKU Athletics' premier partner, CG Bank.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Eastern Kentucky has built an 8-point lead. This is the largest lead of the game for the Colonels. And Josh, it's in large part due to what we've seen from the standout freshman Liz Freihoffer.
Yeah, incredible impact for Freihoffer. Again, the only freshman starting for EKU. She's up to 14 points and 7 rebounds for the 5-time ASUN Freshman of the Week. It goes without saying, John, she will be a front runner for Conference Freshman of the Year.
She was quiet in that first half at 4 points, but put up 10 points in the third quarter.
And she's more than just a three-point shooter. She hit that wing three, but then the play that really sparked her was the steal on the wing, and she got an and one in transition.
She's a hooper. She's also a big tennis player and has become an avid pickleballer, which is a sport that her head coach Greg Todd also loves to play.
As do I. Let me know when you want to play. I'm a 3.25, which means most of America's better than me.
Held ball sends it down to the Colonels. I have to take you up on that invitation. I'm down. I don't know what my number is. I just play. I just go out there and hit the ball around.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Interesting move by Queens here and Coach Brown. I said I doubted she would play two post players. They proved me wrong again. You see Ward and Weaver in the game at the same time, and Queens was trying to go high-low with both of them last trip.
First time we're seeing that today. Oh, what a spin and finish. Recanati.
So here's the deal. Coach Todd said, we want to pick on Fieri. We think Recanati can take her one-on-one. They clear out half the floor. Mismatch.
10-point lead. Largest lead of the game for either team. Here's Weaver. Drives in Freihoffer. Weaver, too much.
Queens did the exact same thing for Weaver on the right side of the floor, only EKU's defense stood up tall.
Costner, kick out. Here's Wardle. Freihoffer to the basket, turned away by Weaver, who brings it in, and the possession arrow heads down to Queens.
Really nice defense right there by Weaver. A difficult play to not foul. She gave up the baseline drive. She stayed vertical on the baseline drive and then had the strength to win a jump ball and bring it back to the Royals. Queens has to score. They are in a major drought right now. They're not going to win this game scoring low 50s, mid 50s. They got to get the offense going.
Queens hoping to buck the trend from last game when the Royals did not make a single field goal in the fourth quarter. Weaver shovels it and turns it over. What can Queens do to get this offense going again? Because we've seen stretches today where things were working for them.
Yeah, I think they're a little too stagnant right now. The good news is Weaver got them going and gave them a lift, but let's not forget there's other capable players on the floor, and I think any team, Queens included, is at their best when the ball moves side, top, side. They've been a little too stagnant for my liking the last few trips.
Toussaint nearly had it. Wade comes away with it. Wade has 8 points. We saw her that 5-point flurry back in the third. Really sparked this offense. Can she do it again? Ward hasn't scored this half. Wade. Here's Weaver. 10 to shoot. Behetu. Ward travels.
Up until the travel, I love that possession. The ball has energy. The ball went side, top side multiple times. When there's ball reversal, John, you give the defense a chance to mess up. You make them have to have multiple long closeouts. They had Ward on the box there with 6 to go on the clock. I like that. Unfortunately, she had some happy feet.
Queens hasn't scored since the 2:34 mark of the third quarter. They trail it by 10. Here's Recanati, standout guard, her 5th year at EKU, the native of Italy, as Ward has the rejection and draws the whistle. That is the 4th foul against Jasmine McGinnis-Taylor.
For the 2nd trip in a row, great interior defense by the Royals. You saw Weaver do it the play before, and right there, Ward just stood straight up. Again, an outstanding defense. And then, as you mentioned, as a bonus, 4th foul on McGinnis-Taylor, the best post player for the Colonels.
And she has to come off. Replaced by Maya Wardle. Weesey weaves, floats, and finishes.
Tough shot. Big time finish by Weesey and much needed.
Oh, nice feed. Freihofer misses the layup.
I've noticed that multiple times. When Queens has made a big play on offense, they're not quick enough sprinting back, and EKU is shoving it down their throat. When the Royals make a great offensive play, they've got to sprint in transition and try to get some compound interest.
Mapp. 10 to shoot. Mapp. Whips it across. Behetu. 5 seconds for Wade. 4 to shoot. 3. Wade puts it up. Oh! Alicia Wade, a sensational shot.
She said, hey, Weesey, I can do your degree of difficulty one better. Good defense by EKU twice in a row. Better offense by the Royals.
And Rafaela Toussaint with the silencer. Back to a 9-point game. Here's Weesey. Inside, Ward. Doubled, Ward bumped, nearly stuck the N1. She will shoot 2.
Nice post feed, John, right there by Weesey. Good footwork by Ward, and I absolutely think the right call. No post players ever think they foul. Toussaint said, my arms were up. That's true. She slid her lower body into Ward as Ward was making the move, bumped her off her spot. The right call was made.
That's the 4th foul against Toussaint. So both Toussaint and McGinnis-Taylor, the 2 primary post players, with 4 fouls apiece.
So my coaching eyes say, guess what? You want to leave your best player on the bench right now, because if this gets tight, you want to have your best post player for the last 3-4 minutes of the game.
And how about Kamaya Ward from the line today? 6 of 8. This is somebody who, entering today, was just 47% from the stripe this season. Costner down the lane, draws the blocking foul. And she will shoot 2, and she continues to get to the cup.
Do you remember about 6 minutes ago when I said, I don't know why they're running anything else? And I will continue to stand on that. It's very elementary. You can run ball screens in kindergarten, 5th grade, high school, college, WNBA. But right now, Queens has had no answer for the ball screen with Costner going downhill from the left wing. The last 2 times she got a layup. This time Costner got to the rim and got decked and got to the line.
So 2 free throws for Costner, the senior from Indiana. You look at the stat breakdown. Well, first a review of something over at the replay monitor. But I was going to say, we've seen the balance today that we've seen all season from EKU. 3 players in double figures. Recanati has 8 points. They are just such a difficult team to defend because they have so many scoring options.
Absolutely, and this is not rocket science. The team that has 5 legit scorers on the floor is very difficult to defend. And the reality is some teams at the high school, college, even the pro level only have 2 or 3 scorers on the floor. So you hit the nail on the head. That balance is critical for EKU.
Costner leads this team in scoring, one of 4 players who average in double figures, as she knocks down both. 13 for Caitlin Costner tonight.
On the flip side, look at the home video board right now. You've got players with 5-1, 4-2, and 16 points. That's a big difference from what EKU has.
Map short on the triple. We see jarred it free, but Costner brings it in. Recanati glides to the cup, turned away by Map. Freihofer. Here's Costner again, drives. Weesey lost her footing, can't finish, bodies in the deck. And it's a foul on the floor as Costner tripped over Weesey.
I have no idea where the foul was called, John. That looked like a couple good WWE moves.
Let's take another look at this. And there.
I think the foul is on Weesey, even though she was laying on the ground for tripping Costner in the paint. I could be dead wrong. We'll find out.
So they're looking for a potential trip. Our officials are over at the monitor. And we actually don't see that they called an actual foul on Weesey. Hasn't shown up in the stats yet, so we'll see. They did blow the whistle and then immediately signaled to look at the replay.
Totally incidental contact. There may be a foul there, but nothing more than that. I don't think it's Weesey's fault she was laying on the ground.
Right, and she tripped over her own teammate as well. So really just a series of unfortunate events there for Queens, who have hung in this game down by 9, 5:26 to go in this fourth quarter. Just pending this call, which could be a big swing. If they do say that there was a trip, that would be a flagrant. So free throws in the basketball for EKU. But again, based on that look that we just saw, it didn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary for somebody who was just lying on the ground.
Well, and John, as you mentioned, EKU, one of the top free throw shooting teams in the conference, coming in 4th, almost 72%. A couple of their starters hovering around the 84, 85% range. All of that to say, when you're down 9 or 10 with 4 or 5 minutes to go, it's very difficult to come back.
So that's the play that's being looked at. Either way, EKU leads it by 9. Looking to make that surge towards the postseason. Look at the job that head coach Greg Todd has done. 2 years ago, quarterfinal appearance. Last year, a semifinal appearance. They hung with FGCU last game. I really think that EKU has the chance to be a dark horse. Obviously, FGCU, the clear favorites of the conference. They're the type of team who can make noise in the postseason.
Well, and the reason is, what do you have? You have an elite point guard. It takes elite point guard play. An elite point guard play, someone that can score it and pass it. What else do you need to have? Versatile wing scorers. They have that in Costner. They have that in Tucson. Then you need dominant post play. McGinnis Taylor admittedly has not had her best game tonight, but she has shown throughout the season she's a force to be reckoned with. What else do you need to win close games? Great free throw shooting. We just touched on that. What else do you need? Championship coaching. Well, I'd feel pretty good having a guy on the sideline with 700-plus wins. They check a lot of boxes that scream success in March.
Again, this is the play that's being looked at. So Tiziana Weesey on the ground. They're checking to see if there was an intentional trip of any kind. And Alicia Wade getting on the bike, just staying warm, and now a meeting of the minds as we wait for this decision.
Well, if there was any question, will fatigue play a part for Costner, Freihofer, and Recanati? The answer is no after the break.
So simply a common foul. Nothing beyond that, just a common foul and a baseline out of bounds. That's it. Which, again, seemed to be reflective of the replay. So it goes against Tiziana Weesey.
That allowed everybody to get popcorn, get to the restroom, and get back for the stretch run.
Yeah, 5:26 to go, and now you don't want to have to leave because this is when things are going to get good. 9-point cushion for EKU. And let's see. Okay, now it is immediate timeout. So we'll step aside. 5:26 to go in the fourth. Still have a couple more minutes to get your popcorn. We'll be back after this. The guy on your screen has won over 400 games at Providence Day, a 10-time state champion. He was voted Coach of the Decade for the 2010s by the Charlotte Observer. And I have the good fortune of sitting right next to him tonight. That is Coach Josh Springer in action, doing his thing with the Chargers.
Must be a slow news day right there, John. Appreciate the good camera work, guys, and Jim and Jake coming out to watch us in action a couple weeks ago. Have been really, really blessed to be the head coach at PD for 18 years.
You've won a lot of ball games there, and more to come. The postseason just around the corner, right?
Absolutely. We kick off. We're in state tournament play. Friday night quarterfinals should be fun. But back to a great finish here for Queens and EKU.
Queens forces a turnover. The opening possession out of the immediate timeout. Here's Colvin. Lowers the shoulder, spins, and finishes.
Beautiful change of direction there for Colvin, and like we've talked, she's really good going downhill.
Here's Toussaint, open three, drops it in, her second triple.
And the second time tonight, she has had a dagger three to combat a big momentum finish by the Royals.
That's what you get with a veteran like her, the fifth-year player. Spent 3 years at Ryder up in New Jersey, now in year 2 at EKU as Behetu scoots inside, can't buy it. And Recanati's off to the races. Freihofer, 3, buries it. Back-to-back triples for the Colonels.
The bench was already standing. They already knew it was in before she shot it.
Well, she hits 38% of them, so she's a really talented three-point shooter. And the lead has ballooned to 13, largest edge of the game.
If Freihofer's smart, she'll go buy Recanati dinner again. When you want to keep getting those open threes, take care of the assist leader.
5 to shoot. Mapp able to answer.
That's a great triple by Mapp, but it's not going to matter unless Queens can get stops.
EKU shooting 50% from the field this half. Costner slips it, nice feed, kick out. Freihofer open again! A third straight 3 for the Colonels.
It's all the wing ball screen. And so that time Queens sells out and they triple team Costner on the drive, which leads to a wide open 3.
And an illegal screen against Colvin. Wave off the basket.
EKU has run the wing ball screen 4 times from the left wing, and they have 9 points out of 4 trips running that exact same set.
So a timeout taken by Queens. 67-54. EKU up by 13. This 3-point barrage. These last 3 possessions, the Colonels this half are a perfect 7 of 7 on 3-pointers. They're 8 of 13 for the game.
It's going to be tough to beat anyone who goes 8 for 13 from the arc.
7 of 7 in this second half, and we have seen Freihofer put on a show in this second half. 16 second half points for the standout freshman.
She's been wide open. And again, how do you get open threes a couple ways? When you have elite post player, that opens it up. When you have an elite point guard that can find you right there. And again, when you have elite dribble penetration like you just had from Costner, all of those have led to Freihofer getting open look after open look. And when you put thousands of reps in the gym as she has, those are too easy. Target practice.
38% three-point shooter. And you look at the lineup that EKU has out there, just with McGinnis-Taylor in that foul trouble. All 5 players can shoot the 3-ball.
Spacing is offense. Offense is spacing, as the legendary Hubie Brown would say, who just broadcast his last game over the weekend at 91 years young. What a legend for the broadcast industry. Take a bow.
An absolute icon, as Toussaint can't finish. And it heads down to Queens. I learned a million things. Every single broadcast I'd watch, that guy would teach me many new things. I think everyone feels that way
One
about
of
him.
my all-time favorites. And let me also say how excited I was to see Dick Vitale back behind the mic last Saturday night for Clemson Duke. It is hard to find anyone that has 20% of the passion for college basketball that he has for this industry for so long.
And I'm thrilled that he got the game that he did. Clemson pulling off the upset over Duke. Here's Wade. Goes up, can't finish. Second chance, no. And a board for Recanati. Here's Wardle. Toussaint drives on Ward and is called for the offensive.
It's rare to see a charge call when no one falls to the floor, but it was the right call. Wade did a great job, Wade did an excellent job being a great help defender right there. The right call right there. One of the few times, quite frankly, that I think Queens has stopped the dribble penetration from getting all the way to the rim.
So Toussaint fouls out, replaced by Jasmine McGinnis-Taylor. Here's Wade. Weesey. Kick out. Colvin pull up, banks it in. Final 2 minutes of this one. EKU has controlled this second half. Can they finish off the job? Or does Queens have a rally in store? We see called for the foul. That's team foul number 4. And it's Weesey's second.
John, how about the job EKU has done in just 4 years in the ASUN Conference? Yeah, better than 500 record, 29-26 in your first 4 years in a new league. Really impressive by Coach Todd and staff.
It is. They were picked 4th and 5th in the 2 respective preseason polls. They've lived up to the billing so far. And today searching for a 4th win in 5 games. Here's Recanati to the basket, finishes.
Not to mention, they just finished a really, really nice renovation at the Baptist Health Arena back home that just got completed a couple weeks ago.
They were playing non-conference games all around the state as Wade sinks the jumper. We'll see if Queens starts playing the foul game. Here's Recanati. Smile on her face as Weesey went right by her. Recanati slicing, spinning. Recanati knocked down. And a foul inside as McGinnis Taylor will shoot 2.
Recanati doing her own and one mixtape there, and obviously savvy veteran, elite handles, can score it, can dish it, knows how to close out games, and right there, just a beautiful job of probing, getting 3 Royals to commit, and then dishing it off right there to number 32, McGinnis Taylor. Feed your post players, let her go to the line.
Shades of the professor with that dribbling display as McGinnis Taylor knocks down the first. The interesting thing about McGinnis Taylor, she was initially a softball player, injured her hip at the age of 10, so she then took up swimming instead, but her mom couldn't stand the smell of the chlorine at the pools. So Jasmine then said, all right, I'll play basketball instead, and here she is, now a standout in the ASUN.
Good choice.
Yes. Inside the final minute. Colvin at space, drives instead. Mapp contested 3. That's short. And they're going to look at it. They did initially signal that it's Queens ball. Uh-oh. And some jawing back and forth. Good job of the officials getting in there, separating things. And the officials will take a look at this last play. Let's take a look as well.
Hard to tell, John, because we can't see the baseline to see where the players took off from, if they were inbounds or out of bounds. Initially, I thought Recanati had touched it last before the 2 players collided. So based on that angle right there, John, Ward took off from inbounds, and I thought she hit it last. I think this one's going to EKU.
So we'll see. We did just get word from one of the officials. They did not make a call. Now taking a look. 43.7 left to play. And for EKU, as you start to look down the road for them, look, they're 6-6 in conference play. We'll take another look at this.
I think Recanati hits it once, hits it twice, but I think Ward hits it last from inbounds. I think it's off her, but if I'm wrong, it won't be the first or last time today.
So we'll see what the call is, but for EKU, you look down the stretch run, including today, 4 of the final 6 games are against the bottom half of the league, so it's a favorable stretch. Now, they do have to navigate this 4-game road trip, which is very difficult at any time of the year, especially late in the season, but they enter today just 2 games back of 3rd, a game back of 4th. There's a real logjam in that middle portion of the A-Sun. But depending on how the final stretch of the season goes, EKU could be in a pretty solid spot seeding-wise.
Yeah, I think they absolutely are. And again, more important than the number that's in front of your name at the tournament. Okay, we're the 3 seed, the 4 seed, the 5 seed. It's what have you done against those top teams? And when the coach can legitimately look at the players and the players can legitimately buy in and say, we have taken Florida Gulf Coast to the wire. We know that we have a legit chance to win this thing and get that coveted automatic bid for the big dance.
And for Queens, it's a different story. Including today, 4 of the final 6 games for the Royals are against teams who are 500 or better in the A-Sun. Now Queens, they do play Austin Peay, who they beat, and also West Georgia, who they're currently 1 game behind in the conference standings for that 10th and final spot in the A-Sun tournament. But if Queens can find a way into the conference tournament, that'll be just another stepping stone of this close the gap mentality that they've been playing with as we take a look back at this replay again.
Well, and you're exactly right, John. Is it a silver lining? Hey, another great first half, but there's no moral victories at this level. Queens is very competitive. You said it earlier. They are outscoring opponents in the first half. So Coach Brown might be saying, what if we could play a 20-minute game? We'd have a very different record. But right now, I think you also hit the nail on the head by saying, you know what, it would be a huge step for this program to qualify for that A-Sun tournament. And they've got to capture 2-3 wins here down the stretch in order to make that happen.
When you look at this second half today, this has gone with the trend. I mean, in the first half of the last 4 games, they're +5 on average. They're -15 on average in the second half. So the call on the floor does stand. It is Queens basketball.
For any of the tough questions down the stretch, don't even bother asking me.
Look, I think we've been working together for 2 years. I'd say you have probably a 90-something% success rate in my book. Final 45 seconds of this one. Here's Mills. Pull up, and Mills connects.
To Queens' credit, EKU has chased them off the arc multiple times this half, and I think that's the 5th mid-range jumper. Oh, by the way, the lost art in basketball. That's the 5th mid-range jumper the Royals have knocked down this half. Well done.
So Queens knocks down the bucket. EKU taking a timeout. Greg Ton and company will advance the basketball. EKU in the bonus. Still 3 timeouts left for the Colonels down the stretch here. And as we've talked about, this is a team that makes free throws, 74% on the season from the charity stripe. And it's top to bottom on their roster.
It's so difficult. Recanati's an 84% free throw shooter. Tucson's 80% free throw shooter. And again, it's really difficult when the point guard is 84% because guess what? This sideline out of bounds play is going to figure out a way for her to throw it in and get the ball right back.
So Recanati will inbounds. Alice Recanati, the native of Italy, one of the A-Sun's premier guards. And Wardle is fouled. Goes against Mills, so 2 free throws in the way for Maya Wardle, the Peoria, Illinois native, who is the daughter of Bradley head men's basketball coach Brian Wardle. So basketball runs in her family. And what do you know? 2 for 2 from the line as Jen Brown takes a timeout. 30-second timeout taken by the Royals, who today are wrapping up a 3-game homestand. They'll travel to Lipscomb on Saturday before heading to Austin Peay on Thursday. Just given the implications that we mentioned earlier about Queens trying to qualify for that A-Sun tournament, that game at Austin Peay, one of the 2 teams who Queens has beaten this season, really becomes a must-win in my book for the Royals.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, if you're Coach Brown and the Royals, you have confidence. We've already beaten them 1 time. And again, you can't play 3 games at a time, but every game from here on out almost becomes a must-win, especially the one against the Govs.
So Queens, 1 timeout left. Here's Mills, puts up a triple. Offensive rebound. Wade banks it in. And EKU takes the timeout. So Queens not going away just yet. EKU will again advance the basketball. Colonels still have 2 timeouts left. Queens has 1 timeout left. And EKU again in the bonus, so they will be shooting free throws on the foul. Greg Todd chatting things over with his team as Jen Brown's Royals make their way back out there. Quick huddle for Queens. Last possession, they got it to Maya Wardle. Again, it's Recanati to inbounds. Such a skilled guard, even today. 5 assists, just 1 turnover for her. Freihofer backs in, and there's the whistle. Two foul shots for the 78% free throw shooter. A change for EKU as Kalani Lindsay heads back on, replaces Recanati. A little bit of offense-defense.
What a luxury for Coach Todd, and knowing that the trigger men you have ultimate confidence in. And I know that sounds obvious, but so many coaches draw up sideline out of bounds plays, baseline out of bounds plays, and I get it. It's a 10, 12-point game right now. But even in a 1, 2, 3-point game, how much confidence do you have to have knowing, hey, Recanati's taking the ball out. She's going to make a great decision getting the ball into a maroon jersey.
Final timeout taken by Queens as EKU's lead has gone back up to 13 points. We also just saw a substitution during that free throw. Briaria Cannon, who did not play the last 2 games, just made her way onto the floor for the first time today. So Jen Brown coaching down to the wire, and you have to appreciate that. Her team down by 13, but they've gotten a couple of buckets down the stretch here.
Let me touch on that for a second, John. I really do appreciate coaches coaching down to the wire. Up 13, down 13, up 3, down 3. I tell our players at Providence Day all the time, when you're up 30, I've got to coach you hard. When we're down 30, we've got to coach you hard, because I think what kind of message does it send to your team otherwise when you give up if you're down 8 or 10? There's always teaching that needs to happen. Take advantage of the opportunity.
Here's Mapp, her triple turned away. Brought in by Calcan, and EKU can run out the clock. The Colonels, whose travel to Charlotte was impacted by a snowstorm, unfazed by that bit of adversity. They come on the road and come away with a 13-point win, moving to 17-9 of the season. Winners of 4 of their last 5 games, 75-62 the final in this one, Josh.
Tale of 2 halves, 30-30 at recess. The visitors, EKU, pour in 45 points, highlighted by the freshman, Freihofer, but just a really overall well-balanced attack by EKU. They were impressive and easy to see why they're ascending in the ASUN standings.
So we'll see what happens around the rest of the conference this week, but EKU, just given how competitive things are, they could potentially jut all the way up to 3rd place in the ASUN standings by the end of this week as they navigate this 4-game road trip. They'll continue the 4-game road swing at Bellarmine on Saturday. And they move to 17-9 of the season with the win, 7-6 in ASUN play. So a 13-point victory for them, and as we've talked about throughout the broadcast, Josh, balanced scoring. 4 players average double figures on the season. 4 players score in double figures today.
8 for 13 from beyond the arc, as you had mentioned early on, John. And again, the rebounding battle was pretty neutral there. But again, when you shoot it well from the arc, it's just an extreme difference maker. Let's hope Queens can get it going as they travel on the road here for the next couple.
Let's send it down to Caitlin McCarthy with Coach Greg Todd.
Coach, this was a tie ball game here at the half, and now you're coming out with a double-figure win. Just how's this feel going into the rest of the conference play?
Well, every home game is hard to win for a team if you're on the road. So definitely Queens played us very well, a great first half. I think we just loosened up, made some shots, got to the free throw line, and were able to handle it. We got a little more experience on our team, but it was a hard-played game and a closer game than the score indicated.
Now, you told me at halftime that you really wanted your defense to contain in the paint number 32, Ward, and just how was your team being able to successfully do that?
I think she had 14 points at half, and we did a really good job helping in there, and we guarded the three-point line better. Overall, just a better defensive effort for us.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Congrats on the win, Coach. Thank you, Caitlin. And as they mentioned, 16 points for Ward for the game. She only had 2 after that in the second half, I should say. So EKU victorious, a 13-point win as their 4-game road trip continues. So a big thanks to all of you for joining us today here in Charlotte. For my broadcast partner, Coach Josh Springer, Caitlin McCarthy, our entire fantastic crew led by Jim Piscatelli and Jacob Wright, I'm John Gross saying so long from Charlotte, where Eastern Kentucky takes down Queens 75-62. All games airing in the ESPN network, so streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
That play was a